Hey, it's Tia and I'm back with another video. So as most of you know, I'm co-founder of Thrift Mobb, but many of you may not know that Tia and I are also founders of the Flyy Girl Meetup, along with Marie B of Do the Right Vintage. Around this time last year, we had a pop-up shop and we decided to create a list of tips and tricks for all of our beginner vintage shoppers. First off, I want to talk about what makes an item vintage. Our definition of vintage is any item that was produced 20 years ago or earlier. Behind me, I have a rack of beautiful vintage garments from Thrift Mobb, and I purposely chose items that were from the 80s so that I can give you an example of what fashion looked like in that era. This first piece is a floor-length beaded sequins gown. In the 80s, I could see this being worn by a woman going out to a fancy dinner or event. Next up, we have this cutesy layered ruffle skirt with corset. I can see this being worn with a pair of sneakers and a crop top. This next piece is a short sleeve, colorful blazer. This will be super cute worn open with a camisole or even belted at the waist. Last but not least, we have these floral dresses. These are so 80s. You would definitely stand out in the crowd in these bright, colorful dresses. I just showed you some fashions from the 80s, so that leads us to our next tip, know your eras. It's always good to do some research on the different styles and fashions of each era. It can be as simple as using Google while you shop or even referencing some of your favorite vintage books. One of my favorite books is The Impossible Collection of Fashion, which is filled with pages of beautiful, beautiful vintage fashion from each era. One thing I've learned from years of thrifting is that garments don't always fit me correctly. My advice for this would be to get a tailor or to learn how to do alterations yourself. I'm self-taught, but recently I took courses at the Made Institute on basic sewing skills. So I'm a short girl. I can hem my pants on my own, take things in, take them out. So it's always good to have that skill or just hire someone to do it for you. This last tip is for those of you who like to shop online for your vintage. It's very important that you know your measurements. It's really easy to do. Just get a tape measure, and if you don't know how to do it already, look at some tutorials on YouTube, some guides online, and it'll help you to figure out how to measure yourself. This is important to know so that you can assure that your clothes will fit when you get them. That concludes our tips, but don't worry, we have tons more that we'll be sharing in upcoming videos. I just want to leave you with this. If you are a beginner and you find that you've been going to different stores and trying to find vintage items and it's not working out, I just want to encourage you to continue to keep trying, because you don't always score every time you go shopping. As the saying goes, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And with that being said, I'm off to do some vintage shopping. See you next time.